All right, so you're ready to record your first podcast. Do you have a microphone? Who's going to distribute for you? Do you have a studio? What about the editing? All right, everyone relax because I think I have the answer. Anchor app. Yeah, Anchor. It's free. They distribute Spotify, Apple, many more. There's creation tools that allow you to edit and create your podcast from your phone, your laptop, or your personal computer. And the best thing of all, girl, you can make money no matter how many listeners you have. So the answer is simple. Get Anchor. Anchor FM app. Go find it now. Tell them a seat at the table sent you. All right, yo. So this week was unceremoniously eventful. Everybody's got a lot of feelings. People are crying. People are booking extra therapy appointments. But you know what? Nonetheless, here I am. Here to save the day. Let's go. You are tuned into an all-new episode of A Seat at the Table podcast where there is always a seat for you. And lest you forget that if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. Now, lots to get into this week. First of all, you can find us A Seat at the Table podcast, all one word, A Seat at the Table pod. On Instagram, you can also find me at Galanda Adams on Twitter. And thank you guys so much for all the amazing emails that I have been getting. Birthday emails, checking in emails, checking up emails. And it may take me some time to answer all of them, but I feel like I've been pretty good lately. And thank you and shout out to everybody who DM'd me and hit me up to tell me that they didn't appreciate me taking a week off. See, this is the shit that Joe Budden is talking about. This is this kind of like crazy hierarchy in the podcasting community. This is what he's saying. This is what the 3-hour show was about. Okay. All of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, we'll get to that in a minute, because that's not the most important news. The most important thing is that we take a deep breath and then we check in with each other. How are you? It's been a long week, no? You know, this week was kind of, I had the potential this week to get really unconscious in terms of it not being like a super eventful week, like just one of those weeks where like there's just, you know, work going on and life going on and you're trying to like, you know, get your life and things are intersecting and things aren't intersecting and what have you. But I do think for the most part that I've been able to find as much balance as possible. I will say this. I think I want to get back into a meditative state this week. I've gotten up, you know, and have done a few days of meditation, but not with the level or the consistency that I think I was operating with previously. So how are you? How you doing? Hey, yeah, how's it going? Yeah, that's great. Okay, great. So let's just go ahead and start with all the craziness. Why don't we? A rest in peace to the indelible actor that we all know as King T'Challa of Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, who died at the age of 43 on, I believe, on Friday night. He passed away from stage 4 colon cancer. Now, many of us did not know that the actor had been battling the disease, which was originally diagnosed to him 4 years ago at the level of stage 3. And if you have been fortunate enough to not know, I think it's pretty rare, you know, that none of us know anyone who's been affected by cancer. I think every single person I know knows someone, whether it be a relative or a friend or whoever, I think we all know someone who has been, really touched by the world of cancer. My niece actually had Hodgkin's lymphoma. And, I think what is sad, about this country, is that we would sacrifice, and we've seen it done on different levels, but the sacrifice of lives that we make for capital gain always will blow my mind. I believe America is, has the dichotomy to be one of the greatest countries and one of the worst empires that has ever existed on God's earth. I say all that to say that I believe that if we wanted to, we could. And I say we because how many people have donated to cancer funds or have done marathons or have, whatever, have bought something from someone who was supporting a cancer research something. We have the power to eradicate the disease, but it does not pay in this country to eradicate cancer, just as it does not pay to eradicate hunger or homelessness or poverty in the minority community. There is no capital gain from it. So, in my lifetime, I would be surprised if this country were to, aggressively pursue something like finding the cure for cancer. But, I think for whatever reason, I think that this death, much like Kobe's, came, for many people, I think, out of the blue. And I think, we had all seen Chadwick earlier on in April, where he had done, as he had been doing, philanthropic work for not just the Children's Cancer Society or Fund, but also I believe he was doing work with St. Jude's. I do also believe that he had been doing work with Black Lives Matter, what have you, and he came on to do a PSA, if you recall, sometime in April of this year, and was met with gasps because of his appearance. He had looked quite jaunt, and many people were wondering if, he was sick or what was going on. And this was around the time that COVID was really coming into play. So I think a lot of people, including Jess is hilarious. You would know her as Jess is the Mess, or whatever y'all call her, Jess with the Mess. She was one of the people who saw Chadwick at the time and I guess had some concerns about the way that he looked. And she mocked his weight loss at the time, saying in part, man, when I tell you I want to find the original tweet where she talked about, she did a video where she talked about Chadwick's weight loss and how skinny he looked. And at the time, she made fun of him not knowing that he had cancer. One of the things that I said upon finding out about Chadwick's passing was not the way that just Jess handled seeing him and making fun of him, but I think by and large, now she's talking about retiring her name, but it's not your name. Although being someone to be called Jess with the Mess, I'm sure brings a level of negative, low-lying energy to it when you are specifically monikering yourself to be someone to go out there and find the most salacious details about people's lives and give your unsolicited opinion regarding. and get paid for that. But I think it, by and large goes to really get into the realm of you have to be careful about how you treat and act and react to people, because there she was in a place to either use her words to cut or use her words to uplift. And at the time, she used her words to cut down a man who was suffering from stage 4 cancer in his final days. Now, granted, she didn't know, but you shouldn't have to know. I say that his death is not just a celebration of what it is to be young, gifted, and Black, but also to be eloquent and to be graceful and to be kind and to be empathetic. All of these things that this man did while suffering from a grave disease. If you don't know anything about colon cancer, it is a messy disease. It's messy, especially in your final days. I don't want to go into the gory details, but I think it's important that we understand that what he was going through was nothing light. And the fact that he was so eloquent during his time, I think, is a lesson that we can all learn. How unkept we get when we don't get our own way throughout the day, or how kind of rattled we get by a little happenstance at work, or a misfire of someone. We lose our shit. And I think it's important for us to see that some people are able to handle it with a level of grace and handle life with a level of grace that would surpass the peace that we know beyond all understanding. So rest in peace to Chadwick. Also, here is something that is unfortunate also, but the tweet announcing his passing has since become the most liked tweet ever, with more than, at this point, I believe, 7 million likes. So rest in peace to Chadwick. Also rest in peace to NBA player Cliff Robinson, who passed away at the age of 53, I believe. Also very young. I am not sure how he passed, but if you're an NBA fan, you know that he played with the Portland Trailblazers as well as the Detroit Pistons, and rest in peace to him. Okay, so we started off the week with more hashtags. Hashtag Jacob Blake was trending this week after I believe this took place in one of the southern states. Don't quote me on which one for sure, but Jacob Blake was shot in front of his children 7 times in the back by a police officer who has now been put on active desk duty. And Jacob Blake, who now his kids will have to suffer the slings and arrows of watching their father be shot in front of him. Now, this happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Video had went viral on Sunday where it showed the police shooting Blake 7 times in the back, as mentioned. Blake was walking away from officers who had their weapons drawn. Bystanders were kind of yelling in the background. You see Blake goes and opens the driver's side of the vehicle and leans inside when an officer grabs the back of his tank and proceeds to shoot him 7 times in the back, telling Blake to drop the knife. But it isn't clear in the video that Blake is actually holding anything. So there has been there has been several protests